Hi, I'm Tati and I love K-dramas. So I've recently started watching K-dramas and I'm basically obsessed with them now. And I thought it would be a fun idea to match up some K-dramas with some YA books. Sort of, if you like this K-drama, try this book kind of a thing, or vice versa. I have 4 dramas and 10 books to talk about in this video, and pretty much all of these have at least some element of romance. They're mostly romances, just so you know before we get into it. Also, trigger warnings for dramas and the books will be in the description. And I also am pre-apologizing for mispronouncing K-drama characters' names, if I even try to say them, because there's no way I'm going to pronounce them correctly. First up is Flower Boy Next Door. This one is pretty much just contemporary romance, basically. This drama is about Go-Do-Mi, who tries to avoid interacting with people as much as possible and barely ever leaves her apartment. What she does do is steal peeks at her neighbor across the street until she is caught one day by her neighbor's younger brother. And as you can imagine, this is kind of where the drama takes off and things start happening. At the same time, she has a next door neighbor who is writing a webcomic sort of based around her. I really enjoyed this one. It basically has all the feels. And before I get into the book recommendations, I did want to mention that this is based on a webtoon. I have not read the webtoon, so it's not on this list, but it is based on one if you want to read that. Now I have 3 book recommendations if you like this drama, or if you like any of these books, you might like this drama. First up is Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. In the real world, Eliza is shy, friendless, and weird. Online, she is Lady Constellation, the anonymous creator of the wildly popular Monsters C webcomic. When Wallace, who is Monsters C's biggest fan fiction writer, transfers to her school and starts to draw her out of her shell, Eliza starts to wonder if real life can be just as good as her online life. I had to go with this book first to match up with this K-drama because it has social anxiety, it has webcomics, of course romance. I personally loved this book. This is a 5 out of 5 star book for me. Next up is Finding Audrey by Sophie Kinsella. I don't know. If you see me, if I'm looking down, it's because I'm reading the synopses of these books, because I didn't memorize them. I'm reading them on my phone. Audrey can't leave the house. She can't even take off her dark sunglasses inside the house. Because of bullying she has experienced in the past, she has basically become a prisoner in her own home. When her brother's friend Linus stumbles into her life, things start to change. I thought this book was a good matchup for this drama because they both deal with bullying as the cause of social anxiety or agoraphobia. This book does a good job of sort of staying light and fluffy while dealing with mental illness in a serious way, if not a totally realistic way. And then we have Everything by Nicola Yoon with illustrations by David Yoon. In this one, Madeline has a rare disease that basically means she is allergic to the whole world. She hasn't been able to leave her house for 15 years, and the only people she sees are her mom and her nurse. Until one day, new neighbors move in, and Maddie spies Ollie from across the street. This one is a bit different because in this book, Maddie has a physical illness that keeps her trapped inside instead of a mental illness. However, I could not pass up the whole watching the neighbors comparison, so that's why this book is on this list. There is also art in this book. There are illustrations, which there is also art for the webcomics in the K-drama, so it's a little bit of a stretch, but I think it still fits. This is a personal favorite book of mine. Nicola Yoon's writing style is one of my favorites, and this story kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time I was reading it. And now we are on to our second K-drama, which is One More Time. I would classify this one as fantasy. You could go sci-fi or fantasy or both for this one, really. This one centers on Yutan, who is the lead singer of an indie band made up of him and his friends. The same day that he decides to leave his band, break up with his girlfriend, and join a music label, he also gets caught in a time loop, meaning he has to relive this day over and over and over again. I thought this one was really interesting. It definitely took some turns I was not expecting and kept me watching until the very end, though I am like the tiniest bit confused about the ending still. This one is relatively short compared to other K-dramas I've watched. There are 8 30-minute episodes, so I flew through this one. And as far as I know, it's exclusively on Netflix, at least here in the US. And now 3 more books to go along with One More Time. First up, it has to be Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. In this one, Samantha Kingston is a popular high school senior. She's at the top of the social pyramid and she enjoys her popularity until she gets into a terrible accident one night and wakes up the next morning back at the beginning of her day. In total, Sam will relive the last day of her life 7 times until she realizes that by making the slightest changes, she has more power than she ever thought possible. Now, I have to say, I'm recommending this book if you like the K-drama because they fit so well together, but this is not one of my favorite books. This is a 2-star read for me. I recently reread it to see before I made this video if I could give it a higher rating, but really it's just not for me. I don't love this book, but it has to be on this list because they match up so well. Next up is Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds. This story centers on Jack and Kate who meet at a party one night, bond over the silliest of things, and fall for each other. And then Kate dies. And this should be the end of Jack and Kate's story, except that her death sends Jack back to the beginning, not of the day, but of the day, back to the beginning, to the night they met. And so the big question is, will Jack be able to prevent Kate's death? I just recently read this one and I actually really enjoyed it. I don't want to go into specifics because I think it would be very easy to spoil this book and you really should go into it not being spoiled. But I really enjoyed the plot and the characters and especially the writing style of this one. There's a lot I could talk about this book. If you want to hear more of my thoughts, my April wrap-up will have more of my thoughts about this book. And then we have Neverworld Wake by Marisha Pessl. Once upon a time, Beatrice Hartley and her group of 5 friends were the cool kids. Then the shocking death of Jim, the group's creative genius and also Beatrice's boyfriend, changed everything. 1 year after graduation, Beatrice is going back to try to find answers about what happened. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like she's going to get anywhere with her friends until a man knocks on the door and announces the impossible. Time has been stuck, and it will stay that way until the friends can decide which one out of the 5 of them should survive. And so begins the Neverworld Wake. This is another one that I read pretty recently. I really loved it. The story was always changing up and kept me on the edge of my seat and reading till the end. And super fast paced as well, which is hard to do with a time loop story. I feel like it can get boring if you're reliving the same whatever amount of time over and over again. But this one just kept the pace up. And now we're at K-drama number 3, which is My Love from the Star. Which it has tons of different names. That was the name on Viki where I watched it. I would say is more sci-fi, but really you can go sci-fi fantasy again with this one. In this one, Do Min-jun is an alien that has been stranded on Earth for 400 years. And Chon Sung-gi is a famous actress who suddenly becomes his next door neighbor. As a reluctant friendship turns to romance between the two, time is also ticking down to when he can finally go home. And by home, I mean off planet Earth. This one is so much fun. I really enjoyed it, especially the characters. So if you've been watching my videos for a while, you can probably guess what the first book on this list is going to be. It's Obsidian, the first book in the Lux series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Katie is the new girl in town, having moved to West Virginia right before the start of senior year. Damon is her new neighbor. He's hot and infuriating and an alien. I just felt like this book series has a lot in common with this K-drama, except the book series is young adult, so set in high school, though it lasts for a while, so they kind of grow up. But anyway, if you like this drama, try this book series. If you like this book series, try the K-drama. So, because I did not want this list to be all alien books, I wanted to switch it up a bit. Also because I haven't read that many alien, like, romance books. Like, I've read The Fifth Wave, but it doesn't work with this K-drama. So I decided to switch it up a bit and go with the Ruby Red, well, the first book, Ruby Red by Kirsten Gier. Maybe the whole series. It's 3-book series, so. This is another one that's sort of sci-fi fantasy. It is time travel, though, instead of aliens. 16-year-old Gwen is not supposed to be able to time travel. That special time-traveling gene that runs through the female line in her family was supposed to pass her by. So she is completely unprepared when she starts taking sudden, uncontrolled leaps to the past. Now thrust into a world of secret time-traveling societies and a new time travel partner, Gideon. Did I mention this is also a romance? I mean, they're all romance. I decided to go with this series because it's one of my favorite time travel series. And while there's not technically time travel in the K-drama, because Do Min-jun has lived on Earth for 400 years, we get to see flashbacks of his life during different time periods. Also, hate to love or enemies to friends to lovers. Trope is in both. And now we have a contemporary romance book, Fame, Fate, and the First Kiss by Casey West. For this one, I'm taking it, I don't know if this is more of a stretch than the last one or not. This one is focusing on the actress part of the K-drama. In this book, Lacey Barnes has dreamed of being an actress for as long as she can remember. So when she gets the opportunity to star in a movie alongside one of Hollywood's hottest actors, she doesn't hesitate to accept the part. However, she soon learns that life in the spotlight isn't as perfect as she imagined as she runs into some trouble. She's having trouble bonding with her co-stars, and somewhere along the way she seems to have lost her acting mojo, not to mention the fact that there seem to be some on-set sabotagings happening. I feel like this one matches up really well with Chun Sung-yi's part of the K-drama, where we get to see her sort of struggling to be an actress and working hard in her field. Also, both have on-set sabotage. I don't know if that's a spoiler for the K-drama, but I mean, it just makes you want to watch it more, right? There's on-set sabotage. And so that's basically the list of this video. However, I do have a couple bonus things I want to talk about. I have one K-drama and one book. So, the thing is, the first K-drama I'm going to talk about, Cinderella and the Four Knights. This is my favorite K-drama. It's the first one I ever watched, so it's probably going to stay my favorite just because of that, because I'm weird that way. It's also a twist on a Cinderella story, which I'm always a sucker for. So this one is about, I feel so bad for mispronouncing names. In Ha-won, is a bright college student who dreams of becoming a teacher. Unfortunately, she loses her mother in a tragic accident, moves in with a cruel stepmother, Cinderella, and has no money for her education. As the story continues to unfold, she gets mixed up in the lives of 3 billionaire cousins who are heirs to a family fortune, and she ends up moving in to a mansion with them. Now, I really wanted to put this drama on this list because I love it and I want everyone to watch it. However, I have no book recommendations to go with this drama. I don't know if it's because I just like it so much that I can't compare it to anything. I don't have many like modern day Cinderella retelling books that I love or that would match up with this. If you have seen this drama, or if you know of any good modern day Cinderella retellings, leave them in the comments because I want to read them. But if you've seen this drama and you know of any similar books. Now, Wikipedia says that the K-drama is based off of a book. I would love to read that book. Like, I would learn to read Korean to read that book. And then for the last thing on this list, we have a book, I Believe in a Thing Called Love by Maureen Gu. In this book, Desi Lee, our main character, believes that anything is possible with a plan. When the hottest human specimen to ever live one day suddenly enters her life, she decides to tackle her flirting failures the same way she tackles everything else, with a plan. How does she come up with this plan? With guidance from the Korean dramas her father has been obsessively watching for years. This book is so cute and fun, but I don't have any K-dramas to compare to because it's literally about K-dramas, so I'd have to find like a K-drama about K-dramas. Anyway, I wanted to mention it in this video because if you clicked on this video, you like books, young adult books, and K-dramas, and I think you would love this book. It mentions so many K-dramas by name, and it even has a little starter guide in the back of the book if you're looking for K-dramas to watch. And those are some K-drama and book recommendations. Let me know your fave K-dramas or books in the comments. Let me know if you've read or watched any of the ones I talked about. If you would like to see more videos like this, let me know by giving this video a like. I have new videos every Tuesday and Friday, so subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thanks for watching. Bye. That's exactly what I just did for my last video. Alright, this is how we're doing it because I could sit here and fidget with it all day long. So, I have... Box sets are pretty, but they're a pain. If you liked this video and would like, I can't speak English anymore, and it's the only language I know. Someone is right outside my door. Okay, I have to wait for the beeping to stop. I don't even know if you can hear the beeping, but I can. And this is going to be a mess of a video to edit. It's so long. Okay, maybe I should do like one K-drama and book recommendation per video, like make them really short and quick. I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Seriously though, I have a list of K-dramas and J-dramas and Chinese dramas, Taiwanese dramas that I've watched. I can make a bunch of these videos.